We are in Cincinnati, Ohio at the Steampunk Empire Symposium, and I have Scott Hilland and Samantha Stevenson, and they are Frenchy and the Punk. Thank you so much, guys, or dear lady and guy, for agreeing to do a little interview with me.
Absolutely.
How about we start by, tell me a little bit about your backgrounds.
Backgrounds. You want to go first?
Sure. They call me Frenchy because I'm originally from France. I was born in France and lived in England when I was a kid before moving to the U.S. And Scott and I started playing music in 2005. But musically, I mean, my background is a lot in dance, actually. I started dance when I was 4 years old at the Royal School of Ballet in England.
Wow.
And
so you're royalty.
Well, no, they have a program where it's all over the country where kids can start and dance that way, and it just really resonated with me. And I did ballet, modern, jazz, all kinds of dance. Even when I came to America, I continued that.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I started with piano and voice and stuff like that early on. And so a lot of stage stuff with dance, and then in 2005. We joined forces to create Frenchy and Punk.
What are you, Scott?
I'm the punk of the band, and I got my start playing music in the early 80s, and I played lots of hardcore punk rock around the U.S., a little bit in South America, and I started out in a band called Deep Wound, and those were guys that went on to do Dinosaur Jr., then I was in another band called The Outpatients. It was very, hardcore kind of, raging hardcore kind of stuff. And we played with a lot of the great bands from that scene: Black Flag, Husker Du, GBH, Corrosion Conformity, Agnostic Front, the Cro-Mags. So it was that real, I don't know if you know old school kind of hardcore stuff, but pretty raging punk rock. I was a bass player back then, and then I moved to New York City. Was in bands then, and I met Samantha in '98, and like you said, we started playing in 2005. So my background is, kind of playing more punk and metal kind of stuff, a little bit more aggressive type music. And I switched to acoustic guitar in '95, and I did lots of different, more experimental music, almost some more neoclassical type guitar stuff. I did a couple of movie soundtrack, sound collage type recordings.
Very cool.
Yeah, so lots of different musical styles. So I went from bass guitar and punk rock to kind of new age guitar and Celtic and gypsy styles. So I guess we kind of bring both of our backgrounds into the whole Frenchy and the punk thing.
What led you into steampunk?
I feel like it kind of found us, because we were doing our thing. We were playing lots of shows. We started touring together in 2005, going across the U.S. And someone had a show, actually, at a Jeff Max event in New Jersey called the Wicked Fair. He mentioned it too. He said, "You guys would be great for steampunk." I'm like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, what's steampunk?
What's steampunk? Yeah, and of course I'm thinking, steampunk. Okay, punk. I'm interested.
Punk, yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah, and we definitely have kind of a vintage vibe to our music, and I think that kind of has. There's a lot of that in steampunk.
The vaudeville cabaret.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely,
yeah. So there's a lot of that kind of in steampunk music, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why we fit really well. I don't know if some people call us a steampunk band. It's hard to say. We kind of say folk punk cabaret, steampunk cabaret.
Well, you definitely fit.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. It's been an interesting process because, like Scott said, it kind of found us, and we were really embraced by the steampunk community, and it's just sort of snowballed from there.
It's been amazing. We've played nearly every steampunk convention in the U.S. and some in Europe.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there's of course there's new ones popping up everywhere. So.
Yeah.
But SteamCon, Anachrocon, Steampunk World Fair, Steampunk Symposium where we're at, TeslaCon,
World Steam Expo,
Great New England Steampunk Expo. There's just so many.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's kept us busy over the last few years.
And we do fairy festivals too.
True. Yeah.
And so it's an interesting combination. There's a lot of crossover, but it's also quite different. But that's why I came up with that song, the Steampunk Pixie.
Yes.
In a cabaret.
I kind of bring the two together,
So where to next?
Next, we head back to New York after this, and next weekend is...
There's a ferry festival, Spoutwood Ferry Festival, which is a really big festival that it's actually probably the first ferry festival in the U.S. They've been doing this for about 22 years, 20 or 22
Something
years.
like that,
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, Pennsylvania and right outside of York in Glen Rock. Beautiful festival.
Great, yeah, it's
outdoor.
really good time. Really sweet people run it, and lots of different bands playing.
Yeah, it's very music oriented. And then the following weekend in May, we're in Wash City in Massachusetts, which is another steampunk event. And then we head down to Maryland for the Maryland Ferry Festival. And then the following weekend is Steampunk World's Fair.
Yeah.
And then Comic Palooza in Texas. We're doing a steampunk ball.
I think that's with Professor Elemental,
Yeah.
Avenue Park, Marquis of Vaudeville,
Yeah.
a couple other bands. So it should be a real cool event.
And then we have some stuff in June, and then we're doing the Steam Tour in July with the train tour across the
Right.
US.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I actually bought a 15-day pass after I read about that, just so I could
Cool.
test the rails. It had been
Yeah,
20
yeah.
years since I'd been on a train.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm not. I come from a train culture. I mean,
Right.
In Europe, it's trains are just such a part of life. So it's interesting because I feel like in the States I haven't really had that much except for the subway in New York City. So this will be
Right.
fun because it'll be bringing that part of the the American culture and the whole
See
new
what it's like
perspective.
here, yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, we drive all over the place in the States, but we've never actually done it by train. So
Yeah,
it'll be
this should be
interesting. Apparently, the Grateful Dead did it. So
Yeah. It's with two other bands. It's with a band from Pennsylvania called This Way to the Grass, and a band from Florida called The Cog is Dead. Another steampunk band.
Yeah.
So it should be
Very cool.
really fun. Yeah. And then we go out to Steamstock, which is a cool event in San Francisco, and that is like at the end of July.
Right.
I'm not sure of the lineup there, but we did it last year too. It was really cool. We played with Thomas Dolby last year.
Yeah.
Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Remember Thomas Dolby?
Name's-
Science!
Oh, yes. I was thinking Dolby noise reduction.
Right.
I was like,
It's okay. It's at the end of this whole interview is at the end of a long
Yeah, we
convention.
have
6 hours sleep
Right.
since
No-
Thursday.
Yeah, exactly,
Right.
exactly.
So I gotta ask, you've got CDs out. Was this your first DVD, the one I bought just earlier?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, got any other special projects along those lines going?
Well, we just put out a new drum CD this year too, called The Elephant Uproar, and it came out in March, a month ago,
Yeah.
and that has all our drumming instrumentals, a couple of guitar instrumentals, more working on new songs. The Hey Cabaret CD came out in the summer of last year.
Yeah. Actually, I'm working on I do all the editing on the music videos that we have. And I'm editing one for the Elephant Uproar CD for Rock, Paper, Scissors. For our
Very cool.
drum song, yeah. So that should be coming out soon.
Awesome.
And then I think
Yeah.
for the rest of this year is just touring.
Touring,
Yeah.
And some more touring.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are your future dreams, plans, goals? Where do you plan on going from here?
Well, one thing I can think of, some things we'd like to do. We'd love to share the stage with some other artists. Like, I'd love to open up for Susie and the Banshees tours again,
Oh.
or
Yeah.
play a show with Gogo Bordello or Concrete Blonde, or one of those kind of bands.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Do some more stuff like that. We've had our music in a couple TV, like HGTV. They did a steampunk house show. We had our music in that. We had
Very
our
cool.
music in a couple other kind of things like that. So it would be cool to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get some like movie stuff or and just basically just keep doing what we're doing, just growing and keep touring. We love touring. We love to be out there. We love to we've toured Europe a couple of times, and we'd like to continue to do that.
The last few years have been really amazing, and most of it is probably because of the steampunk scene. Is really we've just gotten a lot of love from people in
Yeah.
the scene, so it's really cool. And
It's been very cool.
it's been amazing.
Very cool. Well, I like to close my interviews by offering a chance to tell something weird and wonderful about yourselves that your fans might not know. Is there any little anecdote or anything interesting about yourselves or about each other that you want to rat on?
Yeah. Well, so when you say that, rat on, I always think of coffee.
Coffee?
Yeah, because I think like you have this like obsession with coffee. We'll be driving to shows and like we drive like 5 miles out of the way because there's some place with like amazing coffee or something that we have to get.
Okay, maybe.
That's totally, you know, it's like, I mean, you're born in France, so coffee is very like
true.
special and sacred. So
It is very sacred.
Not so sacred that it won't be at like.
I will never drink a gas station cup of coffee.
Right. So that's one thing that's kind of funny.
So I'm a snob,
we
yeah.
literally drive out of the way for that. But we also we try to eat healthy on the road too. So we kind of drive out of the way for like places like Whole Foods and eat salads and stuff. But
Yeah,
that's a whole
yeah.
other thing. I don't know if that's weird, but that's one thing I could
that's
rat
not-
on.
I guess.
Very
I don't
interesting.
know.
What about you, Frenchy? Do you have an interesting anecdote to share?
Well, what comes to mind is when we first started this crazy music journey. We were living in New York City, and we wanted to be able to set ourselves up to do this completely full time. So Scott had a music studio right by Port Authority.
Rehearsal studio.
It's a rehearsal studio, yeah. So it's
Right in the middle of
basically
everything.
right.
Yeah.
So it's just a building with every room is just a square box, basically. There's
Right.
nothing in it, and people rehearse. So the whole building is just bands rehearsing.
12 floors, 6 rooms each floor.
Yeah.
All bands.
All noise.
So we got rid of anything like all the stuff that we had. Like, well, actually, I was living in the loft and got kicked out, but that's a whole other story because
We got rid of all our belongings.
Yes,
right?
basically. And we lived in this rehearsal studio and blew up a mattress to sleep on for an entire year.
Oh,
every
wow.
night we would blow up the mattress, and then every morning we would leave the rehearsal studio, and we couldn't be there during the day because there were bands rehearsing. So we did this for an entire year so we could save up so that we could move out of the city and then get a place and be able to just do this full time and tour.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
it was
there,
intense.
there's bands playing all night. I mean, sometimes bands would come into my studio to drop off gear after a gig at 3 in the morning.
So it'd be like, you know, on our air mattress.
And we had one little hot plate to cook food on.
Yeah.
And
And there were no showers. There were just, and the place, I mean,
it was
really
grungy.
raw, very raw. So there's a thing called, back then it was Parks and Recreation. There was a gym in different places in New York City, and it was $25 a year.
Uh-huh.
So we joined that, and that's where we would take our showers, is the Park and Recreation gym.
And like at night, a lot of times the building was like infested with like mice and stuff. So on the sleeping bag, you'd feel like right over your legs and stuff. It was kind
Yeah, it was very intense.
of yeah. And we found out that we heard that Madonna lived in the same building in like 1979 or 80 before she.
Before she was
did it.
Madonna.
Right, yeah. A lot of musicians have gone through that. So that's a pretty crazy thing that we did, but thanks to
intense.
that, I mean, it was a long year, you know. I mean, we had nowhere to hang out. I'd be hanging out in like Starbucks or something. But thanks to doing that and being, you know, really determined that this is why we can do what we do, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing dedication.
Yeah. We survived it.
Yeah, right.
No, when we took a real quick break for a minute there, Scott, you had said something came to your mind that, would you like to share what you're thinking?
Oh, yeah, like a crazy story you're thinking.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I remember a crazy story. Well, we were on tour and we were driving through Texas. I think it was 2010. And we were in the middle of nowhere. There was no hotels. We saw a campground. Okay, Palo Duro Canyon campground. All right, well, so we'll camp here. So we drive in and we pay for whatever little camping it is. And the lady said, of course she said, "Oh, New York, New York City. Okay, well, be careful of the coyotes." Like, oh, okay, well, coyotes, whatever. We have them in New York too. So we drive down. We're driving down to our spot. And as we're driving through the little
It was like
campground,
110
it was like
degrees.
110
It was
degrees, yeah.
so hot.
We were driving around and all these little things like crossing the road. Like, what is that? Is that what I think it is? But we stop and look out the window and there's tarantulas everywhere. The whole campground was overrun with tarantulas.
So there was no way we were going to set up a tent.
Yeah. No way. Yeah.
So we ended up sleeping in the car with the windows up, and when I say it was like over 100 degrees, this was at night.
At night, it was probably
It was-
95 at night.
Oh,
It was
God.
Oh, my.
Because if we had the windows open a little bit, I mean, they can just crawl up the side of the van
Right,
and go
yeah.
right in. So,
Oh yeah, I get it.
yeah.
I'd be scared.
Yeah.
I'd be moving on.
Yeah.
Insane.
I'd find a McDonald's.
Right, they had the little, outhouses and stuff. We had to walk to a rock with a flashlight, and you can see them. I mean, these were like big tarantulas,
Yeah.
big
Oh, my.
furry, mean-looking tarantulas.
And we've slept in the van many times over the years because you gotta save money when you're on the road,
Yeah.
but not
Not trying to
not with
dodge
the windows
tarantulas.
up and dodging tarantulas.
Right.
So.
So that's my quirky story
Wow.
for the weird review.
Well, thank you so much. Do you have anything you'd like to close with?
Come visit us on the interweb. We're at frenchyandthepunk.com. We have a YouTube page, all sorts of new YouTube
Yeah.
videos.
Actually, we have a
Facebook.
YouTube channel that people can subscribe to, and it will tell you when we have new
Yep.
videos.
Awesome.
Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. And come to show. There's nothing like live music.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and
You
we
guys
have,
are awesome.
We have a
Thanks.
tour date page. You can see all the tour, dates.
All the tour dates. Yeah.
We did say this is the end of a long con, right? So,
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And from the excuse me, as you said, long
it's not a long
from the
weekend.
Steampunk Empire Symposium in Cincinnati, Ohio. This has
Yes.
been the Weird Review.